Copenhagen 4, Manchester United 3. I repeat, Copenhagen 4, Man United 3. If at all anyone asked you at the beginning of this game that, did you see anywhere Copenhagen put 4 goals past Man United? No one would have gone ahead to see this coming, but it has been as a result of a stupid VAR decision that's been taken that went ahead to cost Man United on the day. Welcome to this channel. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Sometimes VAR sucks. VAR sucks to the max, because you can't tell me that every energy, all efforts that we put up on the field of play, we would have gone ahead to deserve to get that result. And one will say it was a red card, but trust me, it's not a red card. Do you know why it's not a red card? In real action time, it doesn't obviously show that. But when they obviously slow down that frame, it shows exactly that Marcus Rashford is obviously doing a very bad foul onto this player, and that's really what makes it known to be a penalty. So to my own understanding, I hate VAR. Guys, every day, every time, VAR has been one of the causes of teams losing games, and today the officiation was really stupid, because if you look at the eyesight of Marcus Rashford, he's looking at the ball. He's not looking at the player. And trust me, he's trying to protect he's trying to protect the ball. And ask yourself, as a referee who really has brains, that why would a player who is having the ball wanting to make a foul? He's protecting the player. Now, when do we protect the person with the ball? You know, Marcus Rashford was the one with the ball. It wasn't this guy. Marcus Rashford was the one with the ball. And then you find out that VAR goes ahead to obviously to say to it that this is a red card. You know, it's really very annoying that VAR is obviously costing teams. You know, very, 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 very bad. And to my understanding, that rule should change. That rule should change. Now, if at all Marcus Rashford was not the one with the ball and was fighting to get the ball, I would have gone to say, all right, they are right. But Marcus Rashford was the one with the ball and trying to protect it. You know, you see? Let me show you this on the screen now. You also see it by yourselves, because you might say that, Rokani, you are just biased because you're supporting Manchester United and you're just deluded. But guys, I'm not deluded. This is exactly what happened on the field of play. Look at that. Can anyone tell me that this is a red card? You know, Rashford looks down to see the ball when this foot has already gone ahead to land onto this guy. And the referee was seeing it by his naked eyes, and he never went ahead to obviously give it. But these others coming through this guy and obviously gave it. So every time that frame is slowed down, it looks like a horrible injury, like you're going to obviously take the foot of that player off. You know, this was the same thing that Casemiro really felt a victim of when they're playing Southampton. You know, when they slowed it down, it looked like Casemiro was obviously going to obviously do the need for and obviously fall. But for Casemiro, it was a different scenario altogether than this one. Marcus Rashford is looking up. Then he steps on the guy's foot, and it's a red card. What changes all this game? It's this red card that has been given to Manchester United. That's what is going to have to change the result of this game, because United are going to have to obviously be 2 goals up early enough through Rasmus Højlund. He got himself a brace in a nick of time. You know, Scott McTominay and Aaron Bissaka connected in the first 3 minutes of the pitch, and they went ahead to obviously get United a lead. You know, then we saw, where is Manchester United? I want Manchester United. So then we saw Rasmus Højlund doubling the lead 25 minutes later to say to it that the game ended. The game at the time was in 2-0 in favor of Man United. Marcus Rashford in the 42nd minute got a red card, and United couldn't defend the remaining minutes. I know they added 13 minutes, but for any team would have gone ahead to defend better on the night. I understand we got a red card, but being 2 goals down ahead, being 2 goals down as Copenhagen, and you're playing against Manchester United, it's hard for you to obviously think that you're obviously going to come back. You are playing one of the big teams, and all what the big team does is to obviously not really know the tactics. And for I'm going to go for Ten Hag, because in that game, after Rashford was taken off, the first thing that Ten Hag would have gone ahead to do was to take off Eriksson and bring in Amrabat in the midfield, because the moment we were a man down, Eriksson does not benefit you. He doesn't, because he doesn't have a high intensity and he's not a workaholic. All you needed were Scott McTominay and Amrabat in that midfield, 2 workaholics, doing the needful to close down every gap. To see to it that we don't concede a goal, we don't concede a goal in the first half. And we go to half time when it's either 2-1 or 2-0, such that by the time we come back, we obviously see this team come to us to really get an equalizer. And obviously we find a way of hitting them on the break with the pace of Alejandro Garnacho and Rasmus Højlund. But Ten Hag just kept the team playing as it was. And guess what happens? We concede the first goal because of Ten Hag not making a change to see to it that a player is dedicated to play as a right winger. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is caught in a situation of 2v1. He was in 2 players and couldn't mark the back post. And that back post, if at all, was supposed to be marked by Marcus Rashford, who had sent out, meaning that we lacked organization into that central defense after Marcus Rashford was sent off. And all that is bad work from Ten Hag. That is it. Again, after conceding the first goal, Ten Hag fails to notice that the midfield is porous. He fails to know that the midfield is porous, and he obviously finds himself in a position of not really making that change that would have gone ahead to be a drastic one to obviously keep us in the game. We concede a penalty. 2-2 at the end of half time. Very annoying and disappointing. And this is where I really said Ten Hag did something bad. And to show you the importance of Amrabat, when he comes on through, do you know how many minutes we take to concede a goal? We concede a third goal after Amrabat had spent, because he came on the 45th minute, he had spent 38 minutes on the field of play and we hadn't conceded. Meaning that if Ten Hag had gone ahead to do that substitution, no sooner Rashford had gone ahead to obviously take off, no sooner Rashford had been taken off, that means would have gone ahead to see to it that we concede like only 2 goals, because every 40 minutes would have been able to concede 1. If at all, I'm obviously to break that into some good mathematics into this, because when Amrabat came in through, it took Copenhagen almost 40 minutes to score the first goal that leveled the game in the 83rd minute. So that means we were really defending very well, and that midfield was not porous. You saw that they couldn't pass through the midfield. And when you look at the 2 goals they've gone ahead to score against us, they've been crosses coming in from the Aaron Wan-Bissaka side, and we couldn't obviously defend better, especially for the third goal. I blame Dallo, because Dallo would have gone ahead to know where that man was, but he couldn't really notice where his other man was. And it obviously resulted into another cause of a goal. So that is all on Ten Hag. And I think he's going to understand it after he goes home and looks at the stats on how United was defending when we had Amrabat on and when we never had Amrabat on, because Eriksson can't do anything. That is it. Eriksson can't do anything on the field of play if at all you are really not having 11 men on the field of play. If you're having 10 men on the field of play, you need to get him on the field of play. You need to get him off to see to it that he won't match with the energy levels that he'll be obviously be calling in for your team to be playing at. That's why you sort of it that Ericsson. That's why you sort of it that Scott McTominay and Amrabat put up a fight in the midfield, and you sort of it that we even got a third goal. And it shows you exactly that we are a team that lacks what we call experience. And these players, because after Ten Hag, the players on the field of play had all what it takes to obviously know that the right guy, the player on the right side of the pitch, who has been playing as a winger, has been sent off. Now, one of us should dedicate himself as a right winger and then try to really close down this team and see to it that we keep our lead, and then we go to the dressing room and see how things really happen. But we never had a right winger, and that resulted us into conceding another goal that obviously costed us on the night. It's very, very absurd that we've gone ahead to obviously see ourselves really losing in such a manner, and it makes this group more and more hard, to an extent that if United is to win or to go through the round of 16, we have to win our remaining 2 games. That is it. If we don't want to see anything like prayers, like going into permutations that we don't want to be in, we need to win our remaining 2 games. That is it. Let no one lie to you that it's obviously going to be out of our hands. It's not out of our hands. It's in our hands. We've shown that we can go to Copenhagen and score 2 goals in half an hour. That means we can go to Galatasaray and obviously put up a show and beat them. And if at all you want to make our chances clear, beat Galatasaray. After beating them, we will be 6 points ahead of them. We will be 2 points ahead of them. Don't think that Copenhagen is going to go ahead and really get a result at Bayern Munich. It's not going to happen. That is it. Bayern is going to beat them. So we are going to be at 6 points if at all we beat Galatasaray. And that shows you that we need to do the hard work. That is it. We need to do the hard work and see to it that we win our games very, very well. And Ten Hag should get everything right. But what changed the game is that red card that was given out by the VAR. Because the referee, as the game was going on, he never even noticed that it was a foul. VAR had to zoom its cameras onto that to see to it that they called in that. But the effort was put out. I really understand that every goal that came in through was as a result of us being a one-man down, but we can reflect and borrow some notes from teams like Liverpool, who were a man down and went ahead to beat Newcastle by 2-1 at home. Meaning that teams can defend very, very well. Though sometimes it backfires, and it's rare for a team to be a man down and go away from home and obviously collect a point or even collect 3 points. Liverpool, that went ahead to beat Newcastle when they were a man down at St. James's Park, failed to obviously win against Spurs, and they conceded a late winner. But the spirit they put up on the field of play is what matters. And it shows you that we are lacking players of some huge quality. Why? When you're playing against Copenhagen, right? When you're playing against Copenhagen and you're Ten Hag and you're having quality players, all is different. For example, I was here when we are conceding the 3rd goal and ask myself, how would it have been if at all we're having Varane and Lisandro Martinez in the central defense, Luke Shaw as the left back, Dalo Olbisaka as the right back, Casemiro and Amrabat in that double pivot, and then the other players playing their part. With the composure of Lisandro Martinez, you all knew that you could get that ball from the behind, and Lisandro Martinez would either find out a line-breaking pass through the central axis of the pitch, or he would obviously go ahead and obviously go for the over-top ball, and Rasmus Højlund could obviously finish them off, even though we were a man down, But we obviously gave them a lot of space to operate, and that is really very, very ugly of a team like Man United. And you don't defend like that. You don't defend like that, and there was huge disorganization in that central defense. For all the 4 goals we conceded, the defense was really disorganized. For the first goal we conceded, It's all about Aaron Wan-Bissaka being caught up in a 2v1 situation, having two players to mark, and he couldn't obviously mark the back post. And then Edinyosi puts that ball in the back of the net. Second goal, the penalty that we go ahead to obviously concede, that would have gone ahead to obviously be brought down, and obviously we wouldn't have gone ahead to concede that penalty if at all there was some good communication in between the players of Man United, especially the central defense. But it shows you that there were players fidgeting in that central defense that resulted into us conceding that goal. Poor defending is why we conceded the second goal and that penalty got in. For the third one, it's Diego Dallo not keeping his back post. You saw to it that in the game of Fulham, even though he was played as a left back, he kept that back post. He kept that back post very, very, very well. He kept it very well, and he couldn't obviously let anything go in. But this time round, he obviously just slipped out for a second, and obviously a goal came in through, and it was an equalizer for that side. And when you look at the other guy, Garnacho is the reason we concede the fourth goal. He's relaxing at the edge of the 18 yards box area. That is not done in moments like that. When you are a man down, you defend as a team and you attack as a team. But Garnacho was standing and relaxing at the edge of the 18 yards box area. And by the time he remembers that he was supposed to go on and really put in a challenge to close down that 18-year-old player that obviously goes ahead for that volley that smacks the ground and obviously goes to the back of the net, it was too late. It was too late for us to come to that rescue. And that is really what made it ugly in the way that we lost. And it shows you that experience, and really not having the right mentality is why we lost a game like this. So it's obviously a very, very huge task ahead of us. Winning against Galatasaray away from home. If at all you watch that game of Bayern Munich against Galatasaray, it was really a hard one. That is it. It was really a hard one, but it will need more than resiliency to obviously get some huge points away from home. And we all have to put in a shift that can take us to the level that the club of man is supposed to be on. But well done to these players. Today, and the game of Fulham, I've seen them put in a fight. They've gone ahead to put in a fight, but I think Erik Ten Hag just slept in for just a second. It was just a slip up for a second that costed us this game. If at all Ten Hag really went ahead to obviously realize that he needed to bring on players early enough, like Amrabat in that midfield, then he would have gone ahead to obviously give us the better. And even after all what that happened in the red card of Marcus Rashford, it meant that we needed to get on players whose intensity are really high. I know Garnacho played very well today, apart from the goal that we conceded, the fourth one, where he failed to obviously track back and obviously mark his man. But after the 45 minutes or after 60 minutes, Garnacho had nothing to do. That is it. If Garnacho had nothing to do, all what you had to do was get on a player like Hannibal, to tell him that I want you to chase that entire line. For the next 30 minutes, I want you to chase that entire line. And if at all you chase that entire line, nothing's going to happen. So that's where we got it wrong. And this is where the tactics of the manager come into play, because even if we got a draw, it would have been very important in this game, because it would have gone ahead to keep Copenhagen out of this multiplication. But Copenhagen, if they win at home when they're playing Galatasaray, and maybe we fail to register a point against, and we register a point, and we don't register a point against Bayern Munich, we might be out. So, and Bayern can come on any day and obviously give you a shocker of your life. I think we all agree with that. So it's all in our hands. Win the last two games and see to it that we get where we deserve to be. But the beauty of all that is we might be having Tyrell Malacia back by the time we play Galatasaray and Bayern Munich. Amad Diallo is going to be back. So we will wait and see how that pans out. But we need a plan that will obviously see us defending better. That is it. We'll need that plan. And that plan is simple. Go on, take on your mantle, and do your work very well. You shouldn't sleep up for a second. You know, it has showed you that even if though we went ahead to obviously win the game in the first 30 minutes of the game by scoring 2 goals, we couldn't handle for the next 70 minutes. So that is something we should work on and obviously get ourselves busy and busy and busy. So let's go to the stats and how the game really went at the stadium. Is it the Pekin Stadium that saw us obviously lose by 4 goals to 3? A game that by the 30th minute we all knew it was done and dusted because Copenhagen couldn't do anything. They couldn't do anything at Man United. And I was really asking myself, how did they make it hard for Bayern? Because for us, we had gone ahead to make it easy, to beat them up. Now, Copenhagen had 16 shots. Manchester United had 9. 8 shots on target by Copenhagen, and United were really clinical. And out of the 9, they had 8 on target, very clinical. 52% passing accuracy, 52% possession by Copenhagen, and 48% passing accuracy by Man United. 517 passes completed by Copenhagen, and 497 passes completed by Manchester United. Then 88% passing accuracy by Copenhagen, and United had 84%. 9 fouls by Copenhagen and 8 fouls by Man United. 1 yellow card to both sides, 0 red cards to Copenhagen and 1 to Man United. It goes to Marcus Rashford. Then 2 offsides to Copenhagen, 0 offsides to Manchester United, 3 offsides to both sides. And that's how everything really stands. Bayern Munich is topping the table with 12 points. They've gone ahead to qualify. Copenhagen is having 4 points in the second position, and Galatasaray is also having 4 points into the third position, and Man United is having 3 points. That is it. And that's how everything is really turning out to be. And ever since we won away at home against Villarreal, when Michael Carrick was doing his interim job before Ralf Rangnick took over, we've not gone ahead to win away from home in any of those away games. And again, in a second time in a row, we lost 4-3 to Bayern Munich, and we've gone ahead to lose 4-3 away from home. So it shows you that we need a miracle to happen for us to qualify. And that miracle is simple. Beat those two sides. Beat those two sides. After beating them up, then the rest will be history, because we are really having a heck of a fixture to take on as a club of Manchester United. Now, I'm having David Sozis telling me, true that, bro. If it wasn't red card, Man, you would have gone ahead to win this. Yeah, and it's really stupid of the VAR that they obviously have to slow down these frames to obviously find out them getting a red card. That is really unacceptable. Arel Dinkins, but the fear is Bayern Munich has quality already. They may start resting their players, leading to Copenhagen winning against them. They cannot. They cannot, because for Bayern Munich, even the league is not their priority at home. All they need is the Champions League, and all they have to do is to obviously set some good momentum. They want to see to it that Harry Kane continues to score more and more and more goals, right? So they are not going to rest. And even if they rest, do you know the bench of Bayern Munich? Let me read to you what the bench of Bayern Munich looks like. Even their bench is really huge enough to obviously factor out a result at their stadium. When you look at their bench, Serge Gnabry, hear me out, Thomas Muller, Konrad Laimer, Matthias Tell, Choupo-Moting, Now, if they are not to start, Jamal Musiala, Coleman, Sane, Harry Kane, and Upamecano, those are the 5 players that come in through. So they cannot rest the entire team, because they know to it that they want to obviously win. So to me, I believe Copenhagen cannot get a result at Bayern Munich. That is it. They can't. Even Galatasaray went ahead to put up a fight today, but they couldn't obviously overcome that attack force of Bayern Munich with the likes of Harry Kane leading the line. Then Ten Hag has a problem, especially when he's making substitutions. How can you remove Højlund and you bring in Mount? The moment you don't keep defenders active, then the team has to press you. So obviously, you are right on what you're going to hate to say, because when you take off, I had even forgotten to talk about that substitution that he made. You have Anton Martial on the field of play. Why don't you bring him on? You have Anton Martial, and you have to bring him on because you need a player to obviously keep those defenders busy. Do you know that that central defender is given liberty to operate into our box because Rasmus Højlund is out and they are not afraid of any center forward? That's why that man comes in through and scores the equalizer. But if at all Rasmus Højlund was up, he wouldn't have gone ahead to make that decision because he knew that I have a role to play. So Mason Mount you bring on doesn't mean anything on the field of play. It was really shambolic substitution made by Ten Hag to get on Mason Mount in Rasmus Højlund's foot. If you want to take off Rasmus Højlund, the only substitution you had to bring would have been only one player. That is none other than Anton Martial, because all you needed was a person to be able to control that ball and really give you control of that focal point. And Anton Martial would have gone ahead to give us to offer that to us better. If I really wanted to bring on Mason Mount, take off Alejandro Garnacho, tell Mason Mount to play as a left forward, and either keep Rasmus Højlund on or bring on Anton Martial for that, because that's what you're supposed to do. But that substitution of Mason Mount also cost us the game because Mason Mount is not good at really being a person who leads the line or playing as a false number 9. And that is really bad. And for him, he knows that he had another player on the field on the bench, that is Hannibal, whom he used to play as a false number 9 in some games of the preseason. And he knows that he has a very big engine. He would have been very pivotal to obviously close down and chase down that team. So I think Ten Hag will look through himself and obviously understand that he's the reason as to why we've gone ahead to obviously lose this game. Me, I blame none other than Rashford's stupidity. I don't think so. It was not intentional. He was just looking in the sky and he couldn't obviously know where his foot was obviously going to land onto who. And guess what? It lands there, and that is it. Prince Odion, big up, bro. Believe me, we are going somewhere. We are going to win the 2 games, all draw Munich. We must qualify. Today, United really prove they can still do something this season. Yeah, that fighting spirit, by the way. If at all you get a huge positive out of this game, it's the fighting spirit. It has been really, really, really immense. And if at all anyone is not going to really appreciate the players and what they've gone ahead to put up the field of play, then you are not going to appreciate this team. But they went ahead to put in a lot of effort today. And all in all, that's what the results were. And that's what happened to the club of Manchester United, all in all. But thank you for always being positive, Mr. Prince. Harold Dinkins, we are playing Bayern Munich last, and he may rest their players. They won't rest when they're coming to Old Trafford because they know what it means. They won't rest. But even if Bayern Munich fills up a very fully fit squad, if you can put up a fight we're going to have to put up like today, I think we can beat them. We can beat them. Even away at Galatasaray, we just have to find ourselves like not getting red cards, because in the group stages, we're going to have to get 2 red cards, one of Casemiro and the other of Marcus Rashford, meaning that there might be a bad omen onto us, but there is a chance for us to qualify because Galatasaray is not going to find it easy when they are playing away at Copenhagen. To me, I see that game as a draw, meaning that all those 2 teams can only fetch 1 point. They can stretch to only 5 points. And if at all they draw and we beat Galatasaray, and even if we draw with Bayern Munich, then the rest will be history. We'll obviously go ahead and obviously win. Even if we beat Galatasaray, right? Beat Galatasaray away from home, draw with Bayern Munich, those will be 7 points. And even if Copenhagen goes ahead to obviously beat, if Copenhagen goes ahead to beat Galatasaray and be having 7 points, right? We will be going through because we'll be having the same point, 7-7. But when they visited Old Trafford, we beat them by 1-0. And when we went at their stadium, they beat us by 4-1. And who scored more goals away from home? That's where the away goal difference comes in through. So, because the result is 4-4, and who went ahead to score more goals away from home? It's Man United. So, all we need right now, I think, is to get that game of Galatasaray done. That is it. Beat Galatasaray and leave the magic to the crowd of Old Trafford to obviously cheer us through that spell of Bayern Munich. Then Kahendo Oliver, RD, I'm an Arsenal fan, but I'm feeling bad after Man United being defeated. Yeah, because of VAR giving out a very stupid red card that it was really uncalled for. That is it. Then Prince Odeon, Humphrey, God bless you. What was the mouth in that game when Hannibal was on the bench to defending? All right. I think Hannibal really had a very big game to play into this game of football as far as running is really concerned. Ahimbisiwe Humphrey, Ten Hag has to change the style of play because nowadays the team is playing pressing. But I think Ten Hag got the tactics right. In the first 30 minutes, he went ahead to obviously be 2 goals up. And trust me, he had closed down Copenhagen. He had gone ahead to do his homework very well, and he had closed down Copenhagen completely. What changes this game is a red card. That is it. It's a red card. It's a red card. Obina Kingsley, let them drop this goalkeeper. Onana had nothing to do in anything that we went ahead to lose, by the way. The saves that he was required to do, he did them. And all the goals were because of poor defending mechanism of Man United. Ouma Moses, Ten Hag is doing or is what? To me, I like Eric Ten Hag, and everyone who says that Ten Hag should go is really naive about this club. This man has gone ahead to change lots of things around Man United and is operating with his spine all injured. Then Cherop Alex, here your big fan Rokani. What annoyed me was the subject of Mount, because Mount is a player who can't keep you for possession. Yeah, that's it. For Mount, Ten Hag did badly, and not getting in Amrabat no sooner Rashford was taken off was also a very huge mistake that Eric Ten Hag went ahead to do, because you are 2 goals down. Make it hard for them to score, Make it hard for them to score, and don't play a high line, Play a low block, have numbers behind the goal, all in front of the goal, and then make it hard for them to obviously score. And then go ahead and mark everyone out and put Rasmus Højlund in a position of obviously sprinting and hitting them on the break. Because if you get a 3rd goal, when you've gone ahead to defend very well, they obviously say, we are done. But the moment they pull one back, I really got to know this is a done, gone case. Then Ouma Moses, Ten Hag dressing room has failed him. I think the dressing room has shown the fighting spirit. The team has fought on. The team has fought on because we conceded 4 goals after getting a red card. But you cannot blame like Garnacho not marking the guy that hits the ball into the back of the net to make it 4-3 in this favor of Man United, because Garnacho had to do his work, But that's all about the captains on the field of play trying to tell this man that please go on and really mark, because you cannot be having a player who is unmarked into that box. You can't. And you're outside there just looking on. You can't. Then lastly, Emerson Atwijukire, the way we play doesn't deserve in the UEFA. Let them concentrate on the APL top 4. For me, I think there is a chance for us to qualify, and I've not yet gone ahead to give up. I think we have a chance to obviously qualify and take ourselves to the dreamland of the round of 16. Starting off a season with all those injuries, guys, it's not easy. It's not easy. I've just watched the game of Arsenal, and you saw to it that Arsenal, however much they possess the ball, but they lack that cutting edge. Without Partey, without Gabriel Jesus, without Martin Odegaard, they're really looking a little bit, really lacking what we call a cutting edge that would have been able to be created by those players. Prince Odeon, I'm sorry for I was trying to say why Mount instead of Hannibal. Yeah, to me, Hannibal was supposed to play that game. He could run around and obviously give us the best that we deserve and close down those spaces, because he could do that job more than Mason Mount. That is it. So thank you guys for watching through. Smash the like button, comment, and share. If you're really watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rokan David remains my name. Thank you for everyone who's been part of this. I sign out for now. See you later. The Muslims, Barakallahu fikum. The Christians, may the living God bless you abundantly. Rokan David remains my name, and I'm out.